Hi everyone, thanks for joining me again. I'm Michelle from A Noble Touch, and today we're going to get started on the horse wreath. So what we're going to need, we have right here our horse head work frame and some deco mesh. You can use any colors of deco mesh that you want. We are going to use white with iridescent and white with silver threading through it. Burlap, you can either use a big roll of burlap or you can use a smaller. It's either or, your choice. You're going to need some wire cutters, scissors, marker, rotary cutter, of course your mat. You're going to need some cable ties. I use these glitter ornaments, buttons, and I actually got these cute little Les Boutons buttons for it's called Favorite Findings. I got these at Walmart, as well as these clear buttons. Just some wire, couple pine cones, your pipe cleaners, some yarn with your, of course, your needle. Of course, you're going to need your glue gun and glue sticks. And then also, these are called Canvas Designer Ultra Stiff Plastic Canvas. You find these in the cross stitch sections or the embroidery sections. Usually at Walmart or Joann's, Michael's. So that's what we're going to do to get started. Here we have our horse head work frame right here. What I like to do is to cut all these off and then go ahead and pull the wires off as well. So you get a bare frame that looks like this. You could probably, if you don't want to take the time to do that, I'm sure what you could do is just wrap this around, just around the frame. That way you don't have to deal with it. But I think it looks nicer and cleaner when you take it all off. Besides that, I use these as part of my bridles or my halters when making my horse heads. So we went ahead and you just take your wire cutters, cut these off, and then pull off the wires. So that's already done. So then what we do, you know me and my plastic grids, I love these. So what I do is this is actually a longer, I think these are, 12 inch by 18 inch. But what you do is you put your frame on it. Now these don't exactly totally fit the frame perfectly, but that's okay. And what I do is you take your marker and then just trace on the inside of the frame, what you can anyway. So basically you have that, and we're going to go ahead and cut that out, and then we're going to zip tie it to the frame like we do for the flower wreath. Yeah, and I don't include the ear. I just do the head portion of it. Okay, so I went ahead and cut out what I traced out there, and I have my zip ties, of course, and I'm just going to attach it to the frame all the way around. And you know, you can do this either side. If you want to do your horse head this way or this way, it doesn't matter. Whichever way you want it facing, I guess. It's up to you. So just put the zip ties through the grid, attach it to the frame. And it's okay that there's some left down here. We actually fill that in with the mesh and you won't really even see it down there. I'll probably do one more up here for the nose. Okay, and now we just cut this. And then we'll be back to show you how that we're going to start attaching the burlap. So now we have attached the grid to our frame, and now we're going to go ahead and grab our burlap. Like I said, you can use the smaller burlap or the wider burlap. It does not matter. You can use whatever color burlap you want. And what I do for the bigger burlap is I bunch it here. Now on this one, we're going to do more of like a gypsy vanner or, you know, a Frisian cross with a big flowing mane. So we're going to just do the burlap up in this section. If you wanted to do more of a quarter horse or something like that, then you could do the burlap all the way down for the whole frame. So what I do is I gather the burlap here to tail it like a tail end here. Grab my zip tie. Now with the wider burlap, you might need a longer zip tie, but we're gonna try to make it work with these smaller ones. Might take me a few tries, but I put it through the grid, and then of course around the burlap, back through the grid on this side. I'm gonna flip it over, and then of course attach, and then pull and pull tight. Just like that. And then we can cut as we go, or we can just leave it and cut it afterwards. So then that's our first one. Now what I do is I take the burlap and then I'm gonna fold it over this and bring it here. I'm just going to go ahead and zip tie it again. And we're gonna keep zip tying it in bunches around and come around, go back down, come back up, go back down, come back up, and then I'll come back in this portion to show you how to do the nose. So we're just going to continue to take our zip ties and basically put through the grid, pull tight, and then, you know, gather and move on to the next spot. So I'm going to do a couple more and then we'll come back so you can see where we're going to be at. Okay, so we went ahead and we just went back and forth. You can actually see on the back how many times we pinned it, basically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times total so far. Again, you're going to do more pins with the smaller burlap than the bigger, because the bigger there's just so much more material there, so you don't need to do the little gatherings. You can do longer gatherings if you would like. Now we're here to the nose. Now the nose, I tend to, because I sew the nose. So what you can do is just gather, you know, gather some material and then give a couple inches, and then you can go ahead and cut this. Just trying to think what's going to be the easiest way. Just maybe take your rotary cutter and cut the material. So what you can do is kind of push it and gather it here. And then what I'd like to do, you can either at this point flip it over and you can hot glue everything together so it's down. What I like to do, however, is you take your needle and your yarn, and you can use any, you know, you can use this yarn. This is, I believe, a Lions brand yarn. And you can pull down around your grid like this and hold it. And then you can proceed to sew. So just push up through. And I have a bigger needle too. And just keep going around. And this, I typically sew the same color I'm doing my mane. So if I was doing a black mane, I would use the black yarn. And you're just going to keep going around this all the way around to about down here. So once that's finished, we'll come back. Okay, so now we have, we finished doing our sewing there with the yarn around the nose. And you can see on the back how I just tied it off there. So kind of trim some of that down, and then that's just to hold it down. You can also put some hot glue on there so it's not sticking out anywhere. So now, as you can see, we haven't touched the ear yet. So I just have like a 6-inch piece of the burlap, and I just basically wrap it around just the ear frame here. And you can wrap it however you like it. Might have to work with it a couple times to get exactly what you want. Like that. And then what I go ahead and do is get your needle and thread again. And just start sewing it through. And again, you just go through the burlap and through the frame. It's just to add some accent color to your horse head here. To me, it makes them pop out, the ears and the nose pop out a little bit more. And so we're just going to go ahead and finish this, and then we'll be coming back. So we went ahead and finished the yarn around the ear. So basically it's going to look like this on the back. And now what I like to do before we start on the mane is to do the halter. So you see these nice little garland things that we cut off the work form in the beginning. What I like to do is twist them together. And for the nose band, I usually do 3 together. And they're pretty nice because they hide with the garland look there. You can't really tell. So then I twist 3 more together. Just at the ends there. And then I take the 2 and twist these together. So it gives me a little bit of a thicker noseband there. So then all you do here is come up where the noseband would be and just basically put it right there. You can turn it over this way and just tighten it, basically like that. So then you have the noseband. Now of course we need to bring the halter down. So again, we're going to go ahead and twist these together again. Now if you just had the long green garland, just use those, that's great. But I like to use everything that's available to me. So I figured these work perfect for the halters. And we might have to do a 4th one on these because it's a little bit longer. of course, you're going to twist them together. And then what you're going to do here is then push it underneath and bring it up, and then you can just twist around here. Now, again, what's nice is this green garland hides the twist effects, and then just bring it around the ear, the back of the ear there. So we're getting our halter look. And then this one, I just do like 2 together, because this is going to go in front of the ear. So once that's all twisted, then you go ahead and you can twist, and actually if you want to just, you can even just twist it right down the halter and then bring it in front of the ear like this. And then if you want, you can tip it over and just kind of twist these two together, just in the back, just so they're attached. And that's going to be our halter. So now we're going to start and do our eyes and our nose. I love these little, these are just Christmas ornaments. You get them at Walmart. You get a whole pack of them for $2.98. Basically gonna need 2 of these. What I do for the nose, take my scissors, I just cut off the excess right here. And then of course I'm going to hot glue the nose there. And then for the eye, I like to use the snowflakes as eyelashes. Okay, so now for the eyes, of course we trimmed and left 5 for the eyelashes. Now we're going to take this clear button and we're going to push this wire through like this on the button. You can use whatever color button you want. I use different ones. Now I just take this here, I put it underneath. You see where the snowflake is, the line right here. I put one on this side and one on top. And basically I try to keep it kind of in the middle, right there. And then I just take and twist the back. Of course you're going to get glitter all over the place. Twist that wire down. Now I am using this little cute snowflake button, and I'm going to hot glue it right there. Okay, so we just hot glued that little button onto the clear button and gives us our pretty eye. And now we're just going to go ahead and attach it, and basically just take the wire and push through and pull down and just adjust it where you want it. So you might have to play with it for a little bit. I like to see if I like it a little bit down more or up. Position it. And then once we get it where we want it, just go ahead and secure it to the back. Okay, so we have the eye and we had glued the nose. And we just basically pulled through, and there's this zip tie from attaching the burlap, and I just kind of twisted the wire in around through that. So that's how the back looks. And now too, I like to accent with little pine cones. Basically, you could get these off. I mean, if you look around, you can find some little sprigs with pine cones on it. I get them either there or outside off my pine tree. So what I do is hot glue here and here for little accent colors here, or little accent symbols. And then we'll go ahead and it's got too much glue. And there we have the horse head so far. And now we're going to go ahead and cut up the mesh for the forelock and the mane. Okay, so right now I'm rolling out my mesh, and I'm just going to get me a straight piece here. And basically I'm going to cut 10 inches. And you're going to, this is the 10-inch mesh, you're going to cut every 10 inches. And you're probably going to do around 50 cuts total. So the 10-inch mesh, you cut it every 10 inches. The 21-inch mesh that I'm going to be using, so I'm going to mix it up, you're going to cut every 10 inches and then again at 10.5. So we're going to cut about 50 pieces of mesh, and then we're going to come back and attach the mesh to the horse head. Hey, okay, now we're back. So we just take our pipe cleaners and we're going to cut them in half. And then we're going to go ahead and start attaching the mesh to the horse. So basically I cut both the iridescent and then the white with the silver threads through it. So I like to usually do about 3 pieces of mesh for the forelock. So basically, I'm going to take the corners. Now if you've seen my flower tutorial, this is how I do the single petal. So I take the corners, pinch, I do a twist, and a fold over, just like that. You can go ahead and trim any mesh that's sticking out. And then you take your half of your pipe cleaner, pull it through, and just twist like a twist and a half. And then what you can do is just that you're going to, right here, the frame, kind of go through the grid in the frame. And of course this is being a stinker for me, because I cut the, and make sure this is flipped over like this, and just attach. So we went ahead and attached that. If you pull this back, you can see through the grid here and around the frame, and the burlap will cover this. But we're going to go ahead and attach 2 more pieces of mesh. So we're going to do an iridescent one for the middle. And again, pinch and twist, fold over, grab your pipe cleaner. And then you're just going to go a little bit lower now. So if you can see here, actually let me turn it over. So you can just go a little bit lower this time. Attach through the grid. Just like this. Like that. And then we're going to do one more. And we'll again do the silver and white one. And you don't have to do it in this order. You can do it in whatever order you want. Just trim. Twist. And then again, if you want to turn it over, I'm going to go a little bit lower this time. Bring it through and attach. Just like that. And here I'm seeing some shedding here. Just trim it up. So now we have our forelock like this. So that's going to look like that for right now. Don't worry if it's sticking up. I'm going to show you how to fix that once we're all done with all the mesh. Now we're going to move on to the mane. So we're just going to do the same exact fold, and we're just going to attach all down the mane. And then once we get here, we're going to, finish going down, and then we're going to move over. So we'll go ahead and at least finish going down the mane, and then when we get to here, I'll show you what we do for going this way. Okay, so we finished doing the back of the mane. So if you just turn it over, basically, I just attach like this, all the way down to the bottom. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the mane, and we're going to, instead of going this way, we're going to flip it this way. So when we attach, you attach like right up in the corner here, pull down, and just tighten in the back. That's what I love about these grids. You can just go ahead and fill in with everything. So again, you're going to go right up here, push it through the grid. I don't know if you can see that or not. And pull through, and of course on the back, you're just going to twist it and tie it. Flip it back over. So we're going to continue and fill all this in, even right out to here, and your mane's going to come out about this far. So like I said, we're just going to keep continuing to fill in and just move, this way with your mesh, and then down and out. So even when you get done this way, since there's no grid here, you can either attach another grid, or basically this is pretty long, so you can just attach here, and then that's going to fill in from here. So we'll go ahead and finish up and see what the end result is. Okay, so we went ahead and finished putting all the mesh in. So now we can flip it over, and you can see how where we attached it all at. And now I'm going to show you how we're going to bring these down so they're not sticking up like crazy. Basically, I take a zip tie, and I go through the back, so I flip it back over, and I just kind of run a zip tie just through the mesh, just for the first couple. The last one will pretty much be held down by the top one. And I just kind of pull it and zip tie it like right there. And that way it holds it down like that. So just go ahead and tighten it there. And then we'll take another zip tie and do the same thing with just the top couple. You might be able to like kind of poof it a little bit and fold it. Grab our zip tie. Just push it right through the mesh. And then you can bring it underneath the frame here. Just kind of and then that holds it down like this. And then what I like to do is in the back here, I'll take a Chanel stem or a pipe cleaner. Okay, so now we're going to take our pipe cleaner and we're going to attach behind the ear and just kind of bring it up and twist it around itself. And then what I'm going to do is run it to this side of the ear, just on the frame there. And again, just twist it around itself. I usually put a backing on it, but I'm just showing you basically where you're going to want to hang it. So we have the hanger right there. And then we'll go ahead and hang it. Let's try it on this nail here. So thank you for watching the horsehead tutorial, and don't forget, I'm Michelle from A Noble Touch, and make sure you like us on Facebook, like the video, and shop us on Etsy. So that'd be etsy.com/shop/anobletouch. Thank you.
Yeah.